If so, please come forward. Is this your first time up? This is your second time?
Before. I'm
All right.
David Cedarholm.
Okay.
I live in Vero Beach. I've heard the comment that this is an existing facility and we're merely putting a roof on it. I wonder if the gentleman could tell us what their change in business revenue projections is as a result of this. How much more traffic?
I don't think we have the ability.
Can they give us a percentage of how much more traffic this will they're expecting because of this capital expenditure?
I'm going to ask, is that a fair question to be asking a person how much revenue increases and such they're going to have?
Well, if the applicant wishes to respond.
If he wishes to respond to you, he can.
If he even knows at this point.
As I heard this earlier, it was to serve the guests at their place. It was not for the general public.
It was mostly
another amenity that they would be providing the people at their place.
Well, as I said before, I've been there on 2 occasions with a large group of people, and none of us were residents of the hotel. It is a place that people go to as an open entertainment place.
That's true. That's true. Mm-hmm. But I think the restaurant will serve their clientele also, but they'll also serve the public. I believe that's accurate.
But that's not my point. They're making a significant capital expenditure, and I don't think businessmen do that without expecting a revenue enhancement.
I would agree.
Could they tell us
the business
what
model
they're expecting? Because
Sure.
it would indicate more traffic.
Lee, do you wish to answer that question?
Hi. The answer is we're not. There was even a traffic report done. We're not expecting ginormous amount of increase in traffic, nor a giant increase in revenue. It's really an additional amenity, not even additional, a better amenity for our hotel guests is what it is. And we've even asked the question amongst ourselves whether it's worth pursuing because of the costs. We don't think it's not something where you look at it and say, we're going to earn these dollars back in 3 years. We think it's going to take a significant amount of time. People don't come from West Vero. Now, they may, but a general course of action, they're not coming to that bar to go enjoy themselves. One, I don't know if they know that it's available to the public, but we don't necessarily promote that. We do at Cobalt. And people don't necessarily feel comfortable either, a business person going for a business lunch, sitting next to somebody in a bathing suit. People, that's just not, it's not where we're going.
Okay.
So I don't know if that answers the question.
I'd like to ask you, the board has been here a long time now, and if you have something new to add, please come forward. If you're repeating other people's information, okay.
Beverly Myers, previously sworn in. I just have 2 quick comments because I know we're tilting at windmills. I know this is a done deal. This project is within code. It's going to pass. Within code doesn't make it right. And sometimes the codes need to be looked at. And the parking situation on Orchid Island is absolutely untenable. The merchants on Ocean Boulevard have 0 parking space in front of their stores. I'm here to tell you, I try to frequent them. It cannot be done. You end up parking 4 or 5 blocks away and walking back because it's the employees. So the idea of shuttling employees in, great. That's marvelous, taking cars off that road. Those cars have to be put somewhere. In the future, the code needs to be revised. If you build a structure, you have to have on-site parking to accommodate everything that is required to maintain that facility. And if that means your bottom 3 floors are parking garage, come to Orlando, to Winter Park, where I live, and let's see the parking garages at Winter Park, because they are landscaped and gorgeous with cascading flowers and plants hanging down. You'd never know they're parking garages, but they've got their parking on site. Okay? And parking 100 cars in a public park in spaces that should be reserved for residents for recreational use, that's just wrong. And back to within code doesn't make it right. And you're remarkably ill-informed for the general manager of this project who came to this board to represent and defend it, because you don't know much about how this is going to be run. You don't know where your employees park. You don't know how late the bar is going to be open. Is it 10? Is it 2?
Yeah, would you direct your comments to the board?
I'm terribly sorry. We don't know how late it's going to be open. Is it 10? Is it 2? Makes a big, big difference. And what they've done by that positioning is taking the impact away from their guests and put it right on us. And we don't appreciate it. It may be within code. That doesn't make it right.
Thank you, Bev.
Bruce Williams, I was saying before.
Yes, ma'am.
And I was going to say, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something. I think we're all people of goodwill. And my concern is my vacation being ruined by people 15 feet away talking and drinking and enjoying themselves. And I don't have a problem with them drinking and enjoying themselves. I just wish there was some way there could be a compromise as to the location to expand what's already there, put it on the other side of the property, and everybody could be winners that way. We could maintain our quiet little stodgy culture of peacefulness, and more people could come and enjoy the hotel too.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Very quickly.
All right.
I just a point of clarification. You're not just putting the cover over the top of what's there. That's altogether a different thing. And if you look at the total general area, there's going to be an increase of 22 seats from what's there currently there. But the concern is the concentration of 72 of them sitting at the bar. And the fact that you got that there and you got another 46 that are within 150 feet of the line. So that's my only point. The noise problem is a concentration problem that you're going to have because of the bar. That's all.
Thank you. Is there closing arguments by the applicant? Tim, do you have any closing arguments from staff?
No, the staff hasn't heard anything from the testimony to be, competent, substantial competent evidence on that. Many of these are concerns, but we feel find that this meets the code and should be approved.
Has the applicant agreed to the 10 o'clock limit on the outdoor sound?
Yes, and that's in the condition of the approval.
In the condition.
Right.
So there would be no amplified music or televisions.
And that would be
outside,
amplified sound,
amplified sound after 10 o'clock at any given night, right? We haven't put a time on when it would close, but at least the noise level would be conversation as opposed to amplified sound, right?
Any additional comments?
Mr. Chair, if I may?
Yes.
The folks that have concerns with this tiki bar, could I ask the question of why can it be moved? And if it can, is it possible? That was a question. Can it be moved? Can that be answered?
I mean, you're changing an entire site plan if you move a building. Everything has to be redone.
All right, that's my answer. Thanks.
I mean, you can ask the question, Ken, but
no, I think you've answered it.
Close the public hearing.
We have to closing public hearing now. So public hearing is closed. Thank you.
I have a question, Tim.
Where do you want to go with that, Ken?
We ask a question of Tim. Were there any discussions that you had with staff when the application came in about potential alternate locations?
I raised my concerns about it, but I believe that they had some. In fact, I just asked them again about that whether there are some other constraints they have to actually move the location of it. But I don't recall. I can't give you any more specifics than that. But I was concerned because of where the location was.
Yeah,
yes.
I assumed you would have raised that issue.
Yes, I raised that issue.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, it's discussion of the board now.
Can I ask a question of the applicant, is there a possibility that instead of putting up a barrier screen along that area, I know you talked about sea grapes and shrubbery, and also mentioned sound barrier screen. Is there a possibility that that complete back wall that abuts that property could be a solid wall and not just a screening area to protect the noise?
Let the applicant come forward, please.
They're in a DE zone.
No, they don't think.
In respect to the sea grapes, that's what's there currently. We're going to put a different hedge that's taller.
So can you speak up a little bit?
We're going to put a different hedge that's taller and more lush, if you will. In respect to a wall, that wasn't part of our application, nor was it part of the DEP permit, and I don't know if it'd even be permitted there.
I don't mean a wall at the property line. I mean to enclose that part of the tiki bar in with a solid building, in other words.
No, it's just an open-air building.
No, I understand that, but just that portion of the building that abuts that property line could, instead of a screen, as you had discussed, possibly a noise barrier screen being put in place, could that not be just a solid wall to the building rather than a removable screen? And I know it's supposed to be open, but just an idea to protect that area of the property to keep the noise away from it.
It's not something that we would
consider.
Do.
Okay.
I mean, we would put some barrier screening up. Somebody else made that comment about a sound screening. I don't know what that is, but we'd be happy to look into it.
Okay.
Landscape.
I mean, that's something in the long run if this doesn't work out. I mean, we'll work with them if these things don't work out. But I have researched these sound panels, which take care of low bass sounds and a lot of other things. But you want it closer to the tiki. The closer it is to where the noise is coming from, the better. But we can't enclose the tiki, so they'd have to look at a design to do that.
Okay.
So,
thank you.
But I can tell you, we start getting complaints and things. We will respond. Try to take care of it.
So we do have some powers to correct a noise issue if it does arise. Now we get complaints.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming here because they've been able to talk about their concerns. A lot of it is projected, quality of life kinds of issues, and there's no point in worrying about it if you can't come forward and find out if you have a legitimate, complaint on that. And at this point in time, what I heard was basically a concern about noise. And I think that's been fairly well addressed. I really do. I know that landscaping puts up very good barriers, podocarpus hedge in particularly. The drainage issue, I think, maybe has been satisfied, that it's really a non-issue. The walk-in freezer is pretty much of a non-issue. The parking is a problem. That's a problem on the barrier island. I know the city has worked on that. I think that the hotel has been very aggressive in handling it for themselves on their own property. The sea turtles, they've got to be in compliance with the DEP and Florida Fish and Wildlife. It was unfortunate that all of the upland sand that was put there now has all gone on shore, and it's created more of a problem. But this is something beyond their control, and it is addressed environmentally. I hope that people feel that their issues have been addressed and that they are able to continue voicing their concerns. You've certainly got the planning department here and code enforcement. The city is very responsive to that. And again, thank you for showing up and addressing your concerns, and know that there's always an avenue, to continue addressing them if you're not satisfied. But at this time, I feel very comfortable that things are being addressed.
Additional comments? Discussion? I would like to thank you for...
I'd like to make one comment,
Go ahead.
Please. I'm still concerned about item number 5 on page 7 of the recommendations, having to do with the accommodation of parking employees by Go Line Shuttle. That particular paragraph, in my way of interpreting it, is open-ended, has no teeth at all, and parking is a greater issue to not only this business but all businesses and all property owners in the area than the sound issue is. And I think that paragraph is meaningless and should be struck to begin with. The letter that was written by the hotel manager Duncan Clements, speaks to the parking issue again. And this, as I understand it, this letter is only a support letter. It has no teeth either. There's no requirement that this letter be made a contingency, as I understand it. So it's nice that they're working with the community, but I think we all need to be realistic that long range, the parking problem is not being solved here today. That this letter and that particular paragraph is going to be very short-lived.
My comment is that if I had my druthers, I understand where your community is coming from. If I had the ability to move the building back a little bit, I would. But every homeowner, every property owner, I should say, has the right to choose where they put them at to suit their best needs. In this particular case, it serves their interest best to have it where it is. And it's within the rights of them to do that, and they're doing that because it will be best for their guests. I believe that as good neighbors, you will find compromises in the world as you have on some other issues so far. And I believe this will follow the same. You have management that will be responsive to each other, because both communities are both condominiums. They have homeowners that want to have the same results that you want to have. And by working together and finding more reasons to compromise and agree than disagree, I think a lot of your issues will come over time, because neighbor talking cross fence or from bar to bar, if you want to do it that way, okay, in this community. So I thank you also. We did hear you, but we also have to make our judgments based on a lot of different criteria. I'm ready. I'm calling, like somebody called the question.
I move for approval of site plan application submitted by Lee Hinton to construct 1,800 square foot outdoor tiki bar, 3500 Ocean Drive, Vero Beach Hotel and Spa, SP 15-00013.
Including the 7 recommended conditions that the staff has identified?
Yes.
Do you include those
Thank you.
conditions?
Yes.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
There's been a first and a second. Is there additional discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mrs. Hillman?
Yes.
Mr. Coteau?
Yes.
Mrs. Manous?
Yes.
Mr. Lawfer?
Yes.
Passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Or are you the contact?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
I just want to ask.
Yeah, sure.
Can you take criticism?
Excuse me, Tim, we're going to...
No.
No, I'm not. Okay, we're moving. It's too slow.
Yeah.
Sir, we're still conducting a meeting. Please, you'll have to wait.
That's all right.
You'll have to wait. I'm sorry.
We have to finish.
Are there any additional planning department matters?
None.
Any additional board member matters?
Just if there were any legislative updates we should be aware of?
Well, I'm waiting for the period that the governor has to either veto or approve. But really, most of the things that you all would be interested in died. In fact, all of the vacation rental bills that pretty much what we saw last year. The same run of bills. They were all did not even move out of committee.
Okay.
So there's not much to report. But once the governor has his way with things, I'll let you all know if there's anything
Okay, and the
outstanding.
DRIs, though, have they gone through?
That I think finally got passed, but I'm not sure what version was passed, and I
Okay.
think the governor's looking at that right
Okay.
now. So I will give you a report just like I did last year.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Peggy. Seeing if there's no other business, we are.
We have the city
I'm
manager.
sorry, our city manager is here.
I do want
Do
to
you have
make
an
one
appointment, sir?
comment. Since parking is an issue, and it is a major issue, not only on Ocean Drive, but we're experiencing it on 14th Avenue as well.
Oh, yippee.
And so but just to let you know, we are in the process of going from 3-hour parking to 2-hour parking at the request of the Vero Beach Retailers Association and the OBA on the Ocean side. We have not received the same request from Main Street because their daytime parking is not as bad as when they have activities down there. So we're going through this, and as you recall, probably about 18 months ago, it was 2-hour parking. We changed it at their request in order to see if we could accommodate people going in to eat as well as shop. And I think what has happened is we've just experienced too much long-term parking. This will also give the frequency of the police department more frequency of issuing tickets for people violating the parking.
Now, where will that specifically be, on Ocean Drive, or what about the parking areas?
Everything on the beach side.
Everything.
Everything
Cardinal
that's
Drive
3
in.
hours today will be 2 hours.
Starting
But-
when?
That is correct. Well, it'll take us about 3 days.
Get them all, yeah.
That's correct. And every business is experiencing a concern and an issue there. And so it'll be, we hope by Monday afternoon, everybody will be in 2-hour parking. But it is one of those issues that, I mean, there's not a business there that's not being affected. Bobby's being one of those. And so we are trying to accommodate. It's one of those good news, bad news type of things. It's great to have the demand in our community. That was one of the charges that the chamber had. They've done an excellent job of making us a pointed destination. All of you remember when we were Zero Vero, now we're Velcro Vero. And so, unfortunately, that has issues, in parking just being one of those.
Yeah, Jim?
Is that 2-hour time frame, daytime, or?
No, it'd be daytime till 5.
Just till 5.
Till 5.
yeah.
That allows the evening diners.
Do we have an evening problem as well, or is it primarily a daytime problem?
It's primarily a daytime problem, and that's when the retailers are open. We still have evening problems. People don't seem to have as much of an issue walking to a restaurant or a bar as they do to shop. So it's one of those that it seems to be a very mixed.
Right. Do we have any information on the ridership of the shuttle? Is that
Yes,
growing yet? It wasn't getting much ridership at all.
It's growing a little bit, but it is not reaching the demand that we want. Another Vero Beach Hotel and Spa, they are looking and searching for having a tram type of activity in order to make it a little more attractive to people to use it. The bus concept is there. I do know some of the hotels and the restaurants they're more than encouraging their employees to use it, but there's no way that we can stop somebody from going out and using a parking space on the street, whether they work there or not. One of the things that we have started doing, though, is sort of watching where people are getting onto the buses. They're using both up at Con Beach, the parking area there, as well as Riverside. So it's dispersed a little bit as to where the activities are going. Mr. Degg pointed out that, we don't want to turn our parks into parking facilities, but the fact of the matter is, during the typical daytime, Monday through Friday, there's an abundance of parking, and so I don't think there's going to be a real major impact in there and especially what we're really trying to do is reach about 125 to 200 cars, and that's our goal right now, is to try to get those, and that's primarily the workers. We don't really believe that somebody is going to ride from Riverside Park to dine at Bobby's, as an example. But they may park at Riverside Park and go to the beach, which is one of those encouragements we're
If you had you sold it as a hop-on, hop-off bus, kind of a free hop-on, hop-off bus, the only place, that would be a way of doing it. A lot of cities are doing that because it's something creative. And, if you do it with a little shuttle thing and rotate it on a regular basis, that might be
Or the trolley concept is one of those that they think would be much more attractive, a little bit more expensive, but I think Vero Beach Hotel and Spa has signed on to that and understand. We also have a commercial carrier that is also looking to try to connect 14th Avenue with the beach, and which would be an ideal scenario if we could pull that off. His will be a charge, though it will not be a free service.
Right.
Well, it is one of our busiest seasons, and take it from me, where I work, there's no parking ever. We have complaints of them riding around for a long time just to do shopping. And I have to say, it's great to see a lot more people in town, and you have to give and you have to take, and that's just the way it's going to be. Parking's going to be an issue. I don't think it's ever going to change. I don't know how it can change. We have no more property to make into parking, so, it's, again, going to be give and take. That's it.
Yeah, the irony of that is that we often overlook where parking is a problem. Ask our police about traffic. And the way people drive, it's like some folks are visiting our community and for the first time got a driver's license. And when you start making right-hand turns from the left lane on Highway 60, it's
every day.
Oh, yeah. And it is every day. The other thing is that do not enter sign doesn't appear to be very effective either. So we're... But the police department is geared up for it. We've reinstituted our motorcycles, and so we've got where we can get in and out of some traffic.
Good.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
We are now adjourned.